Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this really exciting session of LitFestX. We are joined by Shantanu Moitra. Shantanu doesn't need an introduction. He is one of the leading composers in Indian cinema in today's age. And some of his very exciting and lovely work has included Parinita, Lage Raho Munna Bhai, and I'm sure a lot of favorites for everyone, Three Idiots. He's also composed a number of best-selling non-film albums, including Ab Ke Sawan. We are here talking with Shantanu on his first book, which is On the Wings of Music. And Shantanu, welcome to LitFestX.
This is awesome. This is new. This is wonderful to be having a chat online in this virtual world is incredible.
Thanks, Shantanu. And you know, it's really exciting that being the fantastic music composer that you are, you brought out a book which obviously talks a lot about your music and your life, but then you've also brought in some of these fantastic elements about your other experiences and how they have sort of shaped you, molded you, and what your views in life were, with some of these experiences. Tell us a little bit, about the book and what got you to write it.
So um, one of my one of my youngest friends in Mumbai is a person called Gulzar. So at 82, I think he is younger than many people I know, and often I go to his house for a cup of tea. His perspective about things, his books, his writing. And often I used to tell him that, I feel like expressing myself, I feel like writing something. And Gulzar often would say that, the best way to express is if you actually write rather than talking about it. And the thing that I should tell him that, my basic love is mountains, traveling, trekking, bonfires, folk music, these beautiful, quaint villages in the Himalayas. That's the life I've seen with some incredible stories. Somewhere I have lost my wallet in a village, and this person in the tea store walks 2 days in rain to give me back that money, that wallet. And when I offer him some money, he says, "No, just pray to God that I look at my guests as if they're God. This is not my profession." Incredible people of incredible stories of honesty, incredible stories of selflessness. Somehow this did not match with the headlines that I read in every day in Mumbai, which almost seemed like it's a country full of crime, full of debauchery, full of all negatives. And I genuinely believe that a billion plus people's country cannot function if it was not for the beautiful stories that I have seen, that I have met, I have experienced. And that is what I wanted to really to write about. And Gulzar really helped me and encouraged me to write about it. So really, this is a collection of incredible incidents, be it a celebrity like Bhupin Hazarika or Gulzar, or be it this beautiful small man who was a Sherpa when I was doing Everest, or this incredible paraplegic in small kid in Nepal whose thirst for knowledge and education was such that this is a very interesting story, which is um, I think this guy was 12, 13 years old, and he had both his legs amputated because of polio. But he would go to school every day in that mountain region in Nepal, you have to understand, on a small uh, kind of a wooden plank with wheels. He used to travel a kilometer and a half, pulling himself like that to school to study. And one day the school just shut without any notice because there were not enough students. And this boy said that I need to protest this. I need education. How can you just shut the school like this? So he continued to go to that school, the shut school, for 8 months. He would stand in front of that. He would sit in front of that school, shut school, from morning till whatever the time for school was, and then come back. This story started spreading in Nepal. People, this silent protest of this boy. and finally it was raised in the parliament in Nepal, and the school was open. I think this was an incredible story that I came across of especially in context when my child used to go to school with all the amenities, and I don't think so they ever realized what it is to be robbed of that education. And here was this guy who really protested. So incredible stories like this. I thought I need to pen it down, and that's why On the Wings of Music.
Very interesting, Shantanu. You mentioned that you wanted to sort of connect to people and bring some of these positive life stories out. Some from your own experience, some that you're seeing around. Clearly, as a music composer, as a musician, your art your art form is touching millions and millions and millions of people in India and abroad. And from that perspective, do you see writing as yet another medium where you can connect with people and infuse your sort of sense of India, your sense of positivity?
Very good question. You know what? Where music stops expressing for me after a point, that's where words start for me. Uh, when I'm writing a tune like बहती हवा सा था वो उड़ती पतंग सा था वो कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो. This emotion in three lines that have come out, but I want to tell a deeper story, which I cannot do beyond these three lines because that's the parameter of music. And that is where maybe a story of that Everest base camp where this Sherpa, young Sherpa, kind of bailed me out. बहती हवा सा था वो उड़ती पतंग पतंग सा था वो कहाँ गया उसे ढूंढो. That story is really what I wanted to say, which I couldn't say musically. I think for me both are extremely important, but the perspectives are this.
Right. Very, very well put, Shantanu. Clearly, the amalgamation of words and then, the sound is what's creating your lovely music. And like you're saying, you're looking at your own writing, then taking on from where your music stops, communicating a certain emotion or communicating a certain story.
True.
When you have been creating your music, what kind of stories or inspirations or experiences do you usually sort of draw upon?
When I'm this I need to tell the viewers that when I'm actually working on a movie, my parameter is a story. My boundary is a story, the characters, um, be it in Parinita, Saif Ali Khan's and Vidya Balan's character, and that's why Piyu Bole, or in Munna Bhai, Bande Mein Tha Dam, Vande Mataram, each is tailor made to that character, to that story, to that situation. So it's really not about me. Yeah, genetically there is a touch of me which is there, but the objective is really to be true to that character. Um, I remember this thing was more evident than ever in the film PK, where I uh, there's a song called Bhagwan Hai Kahan Re Tu. The lament, the lament when all that was happening, it was very difficult for me to draw it out because I uh, for the first time I put myself in that character and realized that sometimes the hopelessness of uh, or the market of religion sometimes gets illogical for me to understand. How would this character who's an alien, who's like a child actually, how is he dealing with it? And I think I transported back myself to many years back when I had gone to um, a temple. And what disturbed me was that there was a line which was right in front. That was for people who could pay a donation of X amount of money. And people behind obviously had not paid that money. And I was wondering that, do you think God kind of looks at a donation meter and kind of gives his blessings? I remember as a child, I kind of thought about it and then I dismissed it because it's too much of a thought for a child. But when this situation came in this film, I put myself. So often, yes, I have to juxtapose my life to that character, but often I don't because Munna Bhai is not me. So, but the fact is that I could relate to that character and I know that character. That happens in writing. What happens is more often than not, And because I am not writing fiction yet, um, it's true to me. It's whatever I have experienced, whatever I think, questions which are unanswered. Um, uh, I wish I had talked to that person, but it went by. Uh, there was this there was this guy I met in on a train when I was going to from Calcutta. I was going to Nagaland, and there was this guy who every time would get down on the station, buy some bananas, buy some water, and he would give to his fellow passengers. Uh, and I thought they were all his relatives. So in one station, he said goodbye and walked off. And then I asked him, so the passenger, that is he your cousin or something? He said, no, we don't know him. He's just a passenger. And I've never seen this, an unknown person taking care of his passengers, elderly people. This, I wish I had stopped and asked him that question. Dude, what ticks you? What is this? How have you interpreted life? I could not, therefore it comes out in words that I wish I had met this person because this is the perspective that I looked at. I think for me, writing is like that.
So, so your current book, your writing has been more about your own internal sort of feelings, emotions,
Correct.
ruminations, if you will, and experiences. You're not you're not sort of imagining new things around it. You're just penning a lot of your deep emotions.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I'm struggling with the things which are real. So let me crack this first, and then I'll go to the things which are unreal.
No, but who's to say that the real things are easier? Many times I'm sure it is far more difficult to look within and say, well, this is what I experienced, and to sort of pen it down in a way that readers can share that experience the way you felt it. And I
Yeah,
think that's what you're doing.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I just want to share with the viewers that my next book, I think, and I'm such a maverick about things that I think, um, is a journey of mine called 100 Days in the Himalayas. It's right from Leh to Arunachal Pradesh. It's a journey I'm going to take where me and a photographer friend of mine, we capture the place, the wildlife, the people, and the music. It's always been my dream to travel across this one of the mightiest mountain ranges I know of, and the mountain is one of the most incredible mountains because of the people. You have to understand that what makes Himalayas very very accessible is not the mountain, it's the people. One of the most honest, one of the most hardworking, one of the most selfless people who aboard this mighty range is what I want to capture.
Wow. And and when are you looking at embarking upon this?
Uh, I will be
This
starting this in
journey?
end of January. Yeah.
Okay, lovely, lovely. You mentioned in the book, some instance about you being caught in an avalanche on Everest. Tell us about that whole incident. I mean, clearly, I'm sure right now we can read it and all, look at it in awe, but it must have been a really terrifying moment for you.
It was terrifying because what really freaks you out is the sound. It's like a Dolby 7.1 surround on a turbocharge. It rumbles and it bones rumble along with it, and you can almost feel the avalanche coming because what it does is it becomes completely silent and air stops completely still. What really is happening is as the avalanche is coming down, the air is rushing up, okay, and that creates a vacuum, and that's the first indication that the avalanche is coming. And in what 5 seconds it hit, and I don't know what happened. It just it's a blur. I still have a collarbone problem because uh, my collarbone had fractured because of that. But what I want to say really is probably the scariest thing I have ever experienced, and I have done some very scary things in my life. But this was there because Everest Base Camp anyway is unnerving because there's death all over. You can see epitaphs, you can see stuff, and that Khumbu ice fall, that's not even the beginning of Everest. It's just a sea of it's a glacier That is where the maximum deaths happen, and the crevasses. I still remember when the avalanche happened, and I did come out of it. I was sitting, and there was a gentleman who was sitting there, and my water bottle was gone, my everything was gone, and I was like really, really, how to put it, uh, uh, I was panicking because I was thirsty. I didn't know how to get out of there, and so this was the only guy who was sitting out there, and I kept on saying that, "Oh my God, what's happening? I wish there's something." I was just babbling, I guess, because of the thing. And this person didn't choose to answer me, which I could understand because everybody goes through this huge thing. After about half an hour, 45 minutes, I heard noises and whatever, and then some people helped me out. While I was going up, and this gentleman was sitting there, so I thought I'll just thank him, and I turned around to him and realized that it was a skeleton. It was a dead man sitting there because the cloth intact. The flesh had withered away, but because it was so cold, it preserves the rest of the thing. You know, the the how do I put it? The experience of having a conversation with a dead person in an avalanche, it's something which is the most incredible experience in my life. If it was not for him, he calmed me down because there was something to talk to. So I think things like that is what makes, for me, life so incredible. Some of the most unusual places, solace comes, and from most usual places, disappointments come.
What an incredible incident and clearly a life changing moment, Shantanu. Uh,
Yes.
when you mentioned that there's so much of negativity around, like you mentioned, if you look at the headlines in the press in Mumbai or let's say some of the major metros, and you want to talk about the positive things in life, are you seeing that with your writing or when you're meeting people and you obviously exchange some of these anecdotes, are you seeing that people are actually then reacting to saying, oh yeah, I mean life is fragile and we should be thankful for the fact that we are alive, thankful for the fact that we are able to do the things we do.
Yeah, I mean, I have got some great reactions to the books when people read it, and the great thing about this book is, as I keep on saying, it's from red light to red light. They're very short stories. So in a place like Bombay, between two red lights, you can finish off one chapter. But I think here, I want to really put this on record. The most under how to put it, underestimated, misunderstood group is the youth, is the young guy. We always seem to say that, oh guys, these guys don't know. Having traveled thus far, I can tell you the youth in our country is unbelievable. I have gone to places where young kids, IITs, they've finished off, they've got a job abroad, they've come back, they're working in villages, they're working there, they're not talking, they're working. They're working in these incredible places. The youth is actually running this whole spirit of this country. And I must say, this is so incredible because sitting in the city, we don't seem to understand that. But if you go out there, be it a be it a guy who is helping people who used to cut timber to teach them how to do ecotourism so that they can have a livelihood, or the guy who's teaching the young people how to have sustainable agricultural produces so that even in off seasons they can produce stuff. They are all young boys and girls who have dedicated life for the love of this country and the wild and the outside, and they don't want to stay in the urban cities. My story is really from them because they are doing it, and I'm just writing about it.
Right. Very interesting. Tell us a little bit more about your, friendship with Gulzar Saab. I mean, you've written about it a little in the book as well, but tell us a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned that he's your youngest friend, and I'm sure viewers
he
would love to know more.
he is my window to that world which was magical. He's my window to R.D. Burman. He's the my window to Rishikesh Mukherjee films. He's my window to Bimal Rai because he's worked with them. Fascinating to know what was it like. How was Madhumati made? How was was it working to R.D. Burman? Uh, those stories. How did he write Anand's dialogues? This man is a walking history. This guy is a poet. This person is an author. This guy has done so much of work for children, and now he's dedicating his life to Tagore, who from a very very young age he was completely besotted by this man called Rabindranath Tagore. A lot to learn from me. Sometimes I get cynical. Sometimes I get uh, disillusioned because as an artist you go through these phases. Here is one man who teaches me to look ahead. Keeps on telling me that every generation keeps on saying, "Oh, that was better." He said, "No, you have to fight it out here. Uh, that was not better because I can tell you when I was there, I was told, 'Hey, what are you doing?' That was better." So it keeps on changing. You got to understand the circumstances which are today and take out the best which you can, which is incredible for an 82-year-old man to say. Keep on going forward. uh, the greatest joke with him is that I keep on saying, "Gulzar sahab, aap kya likhte hain?" Especially some of your poetry. He says, "Shantanu sahab, aap भूल रहे हैं कि देश के सबसे बेहतरीन आइटम नंबर हमने ही लिखे हैं." So which is true. Some of the greatest item numbers, right from Chaya Chaya to Golimar Bheje Me to BD Jalaile, is written by Gulzar, and we don't seem to understand that. And that is the diversity of this man. Uh, One of the nicest human beings, and um, just if any one of our viewers is a Bengali, then would love to hear that Gulzar's favorite food is boiled egg, boiled rice, boiled potato, and mustard oil. That's his favorite food.
Okay, lovely. You know, at this point in time, I think we can take in a few questions which are coming from our online audience. It's coming on Twitter, and I'm just going to show you the question. It'll come up on your screen, and I'll read it out as well to you, and then you can respond to it. So this question is great initiative from shifting the balance from music to writing. How do you find the change to be?
Uh, Justine, I think that's your name. This shift is better than my shift from banking to music. So because I used to work in a bank, so this is a better shift because at least I'm in the creative world. That was bizarre. Uh, Both are similar and both are very dissimilar, but I think it's that challenge which excites me.
Okay, very interesting. The next question is here up on your screen. So it says, are you a newborn writer or an old seeker? And that's a very deep question, I must say.
Hmm. Um, I think um, I think I'm both. I am uh, I'm a seeker of good values, uh, which usually becomes an old value, and I try to put in a new perspective. From as I keep on saying, I'm such a big fan of the youth of this country. So I think, yeah, when I see a young kid being extremely honest, I don't know whether it's a young kid with an old values or old kid with young values. I have no idea, but I think that is what I'm seeking.
That's very well put, Shantanu. You know, when you're talking about values and the youth, clearly there have been a lot of, stereotypes that whether popular media or, conversations have conjured up about the youth in India today. And what you just mentioned a little while ago as well, that the youth are actually far more,
Absolutely.
responsible, mature, and out there to do things in the country.
Yeah.
You know, when you have seen reactions to some of your music, right? I mean, clearly you yourself are able to compartmentalize some of your songs, some of your music. Are you seeing the youth reacting, differently to different kinds of things that you're creating? And, what is the kind of messaging that you're able to sort of draw from that?
You have to understand, for example, the human species is a very complex creature. And a human species in a billion plus people, it was even more complex. So I think it's very dangerous to categorize them. What you can do is hope that there are few more people like you. And I genuinely believe that when I create something, I would love everyone to love it. But that's like playing God, I would rather that I love it. So at least there's one person who loves it. and hope there are probably 100 more people like me who loves it too. And that is where I want to say that, when I talk about the youth, what I really want to say is that, a, they're much less cynical than we are. Okay, they're doing it, they're out there. And secondly, they're supremely intelligent. I have seen absolutely packed houses in Spikmake classical concerts. I have seen packed houses in hardcore folk concerts. I have seen packed audience in a Yo-Yo's Honey Singh concert too. What will you categorize? So what is great is the options are there for you to choose. The dangerous part is when, in the name of the youth, you stop giving options. So then it becomes dangerous. What I like about this lit fest that you are conducting online is that there's an option. There is an option that you want to be part of it, you don't want to be part of it. But it would be dangerous to say that, you know what, lit fests online, I don't think it's a great idea. Who knows who knew one day we'll be talking on a mobile phone visually. And why I say this example, because many years back my father took me in Calcutta to the Nehru Science Center, and the biggest attraction was that there was a telephone booth across two rooms, and you could see a picture of each other. It was exactly 35 years back. Today, you and me and the viewers are chatting on a mobile phone. Who would have thought it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of which, I think we'll just take one more question. It is a short one, but here it is on your screen. It says, "What kind of writing moves you?"
Uh, Interesting question. I think anything which moves me is, for me, a great writing. I don't know what moves me. I think human emotions move me. Uh, um, Dramas move me. Um, Something which I can relate to, which is subjective to different people, but something which I can relate to. Um, that is why, for example, somebody like, um, I just an R.K. Lakshman moves me a lot. Um, R.K. Narayan, sorry. Then uh, Satyajit Ray's short stories move me a lot. As a regional director, for example, um, Agatha Christie moves me a lot. I like that character. Uh, so it's very emotions about moving. I think that what ticks for me.
Wow. Shantanu, it's been such a pleasure having this session with you.
Thank you.
Clearly, I mean, for myself, and I'm sure for a lot of people who are viewing live, and many more who will view this recorded session live, you've actually given us so much of an insight about what keeps you going, the kind of things, the experiences which draw you, and which are molding you and shaping you over the years. And it's such a pleasure to be having this conversation with you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. And we wish that your book does really well. And we will certainly look forward to your next book. And we
Thank you.
hope that you will also be in conversation with us when that comes out.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure, and I think this is historic, and I'd like to be part of history. Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Take care.
Bye.